The Iran hostage crisis, November 4th, 1979 through January 20th, 1981. The tension between the United States and Iran originated from an intense, growing conflict over oil. British and American corporations had controlled most of Iran's oil reserves for a very long time. Iran was making lots of money, and there was no change in sight. In 1951, there was a new prime minister, Mossadegh, who had a plan to nationalize Iran's oil industry. The American CIA and the British intelligence service were both extremely upset, and a secret plan was devised to overthrow the prime minister Mossadegh. They succeeded. Mossadegh was deposed and replaced by Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi. Before Jimmy Carter's controversial decision that led to the Iran hostage crisis, the United States had a healthy diplomatic relationship with Iran. Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi and President Jimmy Carter were wanting to work on alternative energy and oil conservation. Shah Pahlavi and President Carter were planning their energy and oil conservation collaboration in the Middle East peace process. Shah Pahlavi was also moving towards economic and social reforms for Iran. Shah Pahlavi was often criticized by many Iranian nationalists, and there was lots of violence directed toward him. These events led to the Islamic Revolution in Iran. The former Shah Pahlavi was deposed and fled to Egypt. After the Shah was stripped of his duties, Carter didn't act in support of the Shah nor opposition. Ayatollah Ruhollah Mousavi Khomeini stepped up and became the new supreme leader of Iran after the former Shah Pahlavi was stripped of his duties. After Pahlavi left Iran and Ayatollah Khomeini was the new leader, that's when Iran and the USSR became good friends. They were both against the United States, which is why they got along. Shah Pahlavi, the former leader of Iran, later came to the United States in search of cancer treatment. The President of the United States, Jimmy Carter, allowed Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, the former Shah of Iran, receive cancer treatment in the U.S. Carter, having allowed the former Shah of Iran to receive treatment in the United States, upset the Iranians. They wanted the United States to stop interfering with Iran and its affairs. On November 4th, 1979, soon after the former Shah of Iran arrived in New York to receive cancer treatment, a group of around 500 Iranian students smashed the gates and scaled the walls of the United States Embassy in Tehran, Iran. Once the group of Iranian students got into the embassy, they took 66 hostages. The hostages were made up of mostly diplomats and embassy employees. Soon after the 66 hostages were taken, 13 were released. The 13 that were released were made up of African Americans, women, and citizens of other countries. A 14th hostage was later sent home after developing a health problem. Hostages were often blindfolded and paraded through the streets and in front of TV cameras. They were underfed and not permitted to read and write, and were often unable to change clothes for multiple days on end. The hostages were not aware of what was going to happen to them. They didn't know if they would be murdered, tortured, or set free. In April of 1980, Jimmy Carter launched a risky military rescue mission. The plan was called Operation Eagle Claw and consisted of an elite military force being sent into the embassy compound in Tehran. There was a desert sandstorm on the day of the mission, and it caused 3 of the 8 helicopters to malfunction. 8 American men were killed. After being urged to leave the United States, Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi flew to Egypt. On July 27, 1980, Shah Pahlavi died and was later buried in Cairo, Egypt. While the Iran hostage crisis was going on, so was the 1980 election between Ronald Reagan and Jimmy Carter. There was constant media coverage of the hostage crisis, which made Carter look bad. There were some conspiracy theories that said that Reagan's staff negotiated with Iranians so the hostages wouldn't be released until after the election. Reagan denied these claims. January 21, 1981, just a few hours after Reagan gave his inaugural address, the remaining 52 hostages were released. After having been held captive for 444 days, the hostages were released and sent home by plane.